Great. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Not too
How is
bad
it
at
going?
all. Hmm?
Welcome to IBM Podcaster Thursday.
Thank you.
And so, can you share about yourself? What do you do? Where are you from? And how you all started?
Absolutely. My name is JeVaughn Martin, and I am just so thankful for you for letting me be on your show today and for letting me share with your audience. I am the president CEO of iDream Media. So I have podcasts that both I host and that I host for others, that I produce for others. And you want me to tell you how I started?
So,
Absolutely. Well, I was started off in Chicago. I did interning on radio stations there. Went to college at Illinois State University. So shout out to all of the Redbirds. And I did radio and television as a major. But then I changed it about 4, 5, maybe 8 times before finally deciding that I really wanted to do radio and really wanted to talk to people. So I began interviewing friends and went from there to interviewing just some local artists and trying to help them get their name more exposed out there. And from there, it just kind of took off. So now I interview people, whether it's just creatives, and I talk about how they're being creative. And I do a show every day, Monday through Friday, called The JeVaughn Show. And The JeVaughn Show is on Facebook Live. And you can find me at JeVaughn Show, which is JeVaughn at JeVaughn Show. You can see all of the great things that we've done and all of the great people that we've interviewed.
and since how long you are doing the Juvan show?
I started the JeVaughn Show in April of this year, but I've been interviewing people maybe since, maybe 2003. So the
Wow.
JeVaughn Show was just a creation that I came up with because we were in quarantine and I needed something creative to do just to kind of keep my juices going. So I started doing the Facebook Lives, and for I don't know why, I don't know how, but it just started taking off, and we've been very successful with the show. And it's a lot of work to do a Monday through Friday show because some days you just don't feel like doing it. Some days you just don't feel like being creative. Some days you don't feel like talking to people. But we've been able to just stay successful, and the people have they've loved the show. They follow it on the YouTube. They follow it on Instagram, and they're always curious about who we're going to be interviewing next.
Great. So, Juvan, I mean, which city are you from?
I'm from Chicago, but right now I live in Dallas, and that's by way of Atlanta. So I've gotten to live in three amazing cities and gotten to kind of pick up experiences from each city that I've been kind of incorporating into what I do now.
And what kind of discussions you do on your show, the Juvan show?
Sure.
What kind of
So I have different shows. So the JeVaughn Show is more about helping creatives and talking about them being creative. And so we've done things from local artists to major record label artists, just kind of helping share their story with the world, so that those who are out there that are wondering, how can I be creative during this time? What can I be doing to stay impactful? It kind of helps them along that way. But I also have two other shows I do. One is called The Relationship Hotspot. And The Relationship Hotspot is an opportunity for just to begin conversation about relationships and the different aspects of the relationship. And it's not just relationships with a loved one, not just relationships with a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or girlfriend, just relationships with people in general and how we can do better with relationships. Now, as most people will know, I am not a relationship expert at all,
yeah,
whatsoever. I
yeah,
have more failed relationships than I've had failed cups of coffee. But what I can do is have a conversation about relationships. What I can do is generate discussion about maybe some things that we're doing or things that we're not doing that's getting in the way of us having successful relationships. And then the other show that I do, because you've got to do some things in threes. So the other show that I do is called the International Independence Artist Show. Excuse me, International Independence Artist Showcase. That's
okay.
more of the audio podcast, sitting down with the musician or a singer and really telling their story and debuting their music and really getting into the heart of why they do what they do.
So, apart from the Juvan show, what kind of audience you have in other shows, and how long you are doing those shows?
Now, the one that I've been doing the longest is the International Independent Artist Showcase. That's the one that has maybe gotten me to where I am today. That one I've been doing since 2003. And then from there, the relationship hotspot came along, and I started that last year. And then, like I said, this year is the JeVaughn show, and in all, I maybe reach about 30,000 people with each show, which I know is not a lot. I mean, again, I don't have like the big budget and the bells and whistles that I would love to have
Yeah.
yet. But right now, we reach about 30,000 people that I can see that are, as far as engaged and interactive with our show. So our show's a little bit different. So our podcast, the way that we do it is a little bit different because we record it on Facebook Live. That way we get to have interaction with an audience. And it's like a virtual studio audience.
Yeah.
So we do that, and then we record it, and then we grab that footage, we edit it down, and then we rebroadcast it. So for those who are on my Facebook like page for any of the three shows, they get to hear it first and they get to interact. And then we strip it down, we package it, and then we release it back out, and then that way people can hear the edited, cleaner version. But if you want to hear the raw, unedited, you should definitely tune in when we're doing it live, because I make a lot of mistakes. It's just what I do, and I'm not ashamed of it at all.
No, no. I think, I mean, when you do something live, there are mistakes going to happen. It's just that how less we can make it, and how, I mean, because live means real basically. So we have to showcase the real world. We can't do the scripted thing and the fake thing and the virtual world, because virtual world cannot sustain for a long period of time. Whatever is real, it will stay for long. And
Mhm.
that's what we also do on IBM TV. So we do a lot of live shows, and since COVID, we are doing a live show since 13th of March every day for 4 hours.
Wow.
Every day. And we connect people around the world, and
Mhm.
we discuss the best practices on COVID and what's going on and how we can help and all those things. Apart from that, we also talking to a lot of doctors, a lot of experts, a lot of economists, a lot of sportsmen, a lot of musicians, that because everyone is having a tough time during this pandemic,
Absolutely.
struggling. So we are just trying to share the stories and the best practices and how we can improvise the world and how we can make this world much more better than what it was earlier. And I
Mhm.
am from India, and my team is from different parts of the world. And you won't believe that during this pandemic, the environment is rebooting in an auto mode.
Yeah.
There is very less pollution. Everything is automatically working on. And as per the NASA's reports, ozone layer is automatically fixed up for next 1,000 years. So things are going good basically.
That's
Apart from the negativities on day-to-day basis, if you go and check out the deaths and the mortality rates and the cases, but apart from that, there are a lot of good things happening around. So
and
we,
that's great to hear.
yeah, and then it's not about America or India or maybe other countries. It's about this world basically. So we on IBM TV share this message that spread the love,
Oh, that's beautiful.
spread the love, and we are together, and this is our world, and this is the new way to greet. Namaste,
Namaste.
because we can't shake hands now.
Right, right. And what we do in our community, we just do one of these. We go to
Okay.
this there it is, like just a little head nod, like, hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. It's good to see you.
Great. So you said that you were doing this thing since 2003. So is it your full time profession, or you do something else as well for your bread and butter?
Well, I'm going to tell you, this was a real struggle for me, but I've been doing it full time for the last 3 years. And
Okay.
I had a great job. I was working for an amazing company. They moved me from Central Illinois to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Dallas. But I realized that my heart wasn't into doing what I was doing. I really wanted an opportunity to just work for myself and to do the things that I like to do, to be creative. So I left that job and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to see what happens. And it's real hard to make that decision when you have 3 kids and you're responsible for them full time. But
Yeah.
I knew that if I kept doing what I was doing, that I was going to be continually suffering internally. And I didn't want to live a life of regrets. I had just turned 40 years old, or I was about to turn, I was close to turning 40 years old. And I said, I believe that if I can just focus on this, if I could really put my head down and do this, that by the time I'm 40, I can be making just as much as I was when I was working that full-time job. And I'm thankful to say that I was able to continue to just push. And whenever I came across an obstacle, I was able to overcome it. And now I'm doing this full time. We've never missed a meal. We've never been homeless. You know, we've got clothes on our back. We're happy. And I think that my kids seeing me happy is making them know that they can continue to pursue their dreams so that they can be happy doing what they want to do as well.
Great. So, because a lot of viewers are asking, and they also wanted to start a podcast. And if I'll share a stat, you won't believe that 20% new podcasters are alive since the pandemic.
How many?
20%. So, as far as the data is concerned, 20% new podcasters are online since the pandemic. Because
Wow.
people are at home, they are staying at home, and they don't know what to do. And everyone knows what is podcast, but they haven't never tried it because it's always difficult to try something new. Although people talk on FaceTime and WhatsApp call and things like that, blah blah blah, but they don't know how to talk to a camera, and then people are watching you in different audience, different parts of the world at different point of time.
Yeah.
So and people also don't express a lot of things, a lot of emotions, what they used to do. So it's a challenge. I mean, it might be for same for you, but you are from the same industry, so it not be a challenge for you. But a lot of podcasters and people are asking and to know that can they do it as a full time job, or do you think it's a part time thing?
You can do it as a full-time job, but you've really got to really work hard at it. You know, you can't make this a habit. You can't do it because it looks cool and oh, I like talking, or oh, I like talking to people, because there are going to be days when you're not going to want to do it and you've got to eat. So
Yeah.
this is my suggestion. Number one, if you want to do it, go for it. Try it. I am not affected by there being 20% more podcasters because I think that there's enough audience for everybody. And if you want to talk, you have something on your mind that you want to say, you have an opinion, please get it out. Please share your thoughts with the world. Let people know that you're there. Let people know what you feel. But understand that if this is just something that seems fun or cool, keep your day job. Please keep your day job. Figure out what you love to do. Figure out what your passion is. And whatever that is what you do. Whatever it is that brings you that joy, not happiness, because happiness is just depending on whatever happens to you, but whatever gives you that inside joy to do, then you don't worry about the money. Then you don't worry about the number of people in your audience. You're doing it because it's about you. It's fulfilling you. That's what I encourage you to do. That's really what I've done. I believe that that's what you're doing, right? You're doing what you love to do. And that's what makes it rewarding. Don't do it about the money. Never do it about the money. Do it about what brings you that fulfillment in your heart and in your soul. What kind of brings that fire out of you. That's what I need you to do. Your audience, everybody that's listening, do what brings you that fire. That's what you do.
And also, I mean, Martin, it's sometimes difficult to connect to the audience because when you do everything on a day-to-day basis, sometimes you are not sure what to do and how should connect. And sometimes automatically got it because sometimes, the process simple. I'll start talking and things will go smoothly because there are different phases of podcasters' life, and that is the challenge. Because if they overcome all those things, they can survive, or maybe they can stay a little longer. What do you think?
There's a lot of different technologies you can use. Like what we use on this platform right here is what I use for my everyday show. When I started out, I started with Anchor, and I don't want to, they're not paying me to be their advertiser. But if you're just starting out and you only have maybe your phone and you just have an idea or a thought, I encourage you to go to anchor.com. Is it okay for me to say that on IBM
Yeah,
TV?
sure, sir. Yeah,
Go
perfectly.
to anchor.com. It is so simple because you can literally record it and post it all on your phone. It is so easy. And they do a lot of the work for you. So do Anchor, practice. This is not something that you're going to just get. And for those who do just pick it up and they just get it and they're able to do it with no technology malfunctions and everything goes by without a glitch, congratulations. You're not the normal. It's okay. But if it's something that you really want to do and you want to give it a shot just to try it out, go to anchor.com and use that software and that platform. And that way there's no way to break it. And you can be at ease in knowing that you're not making a huge financial investment in it and you're giving it a shot and you're making sure that it is what you want to do.
And how much a podcaster can make in a month's time? I mean, if you can give me a figure basically so that viewers would like to know
I
how much they get.
I don't mind talking about money.
Yeah,
So, because I have 3 different shows,
yeah.
I make about 102,000 a year,
Okay,
give or take in the US.
great.
And that's off of sponsorships, advertising, gigs like speaking engagements. And so there's a lot more than just talking into the microphone and then broadcasting it. So I do make 6 figures, but I make 6 figures because of everything that goes into
Yeah,
what I do, not just to do the show, but
yeah,
also to leverage the show for other outside opportunities. So if you want to just say in just podcasting for just putting a show on, you're not going to do that much. It's not a thing to where you're going to be able to support yourself and 3 kids
yeah,
just podcasting. You're going to have to do the extra. So you're going to have to go out and get sponsors. You're going to have to go out and find advertisers. You're going to have to get donations. And then once you get all of that and you're out there and people say, hey, you sound good, but like, hey, thank you. I also will do your event. I can come and host. I can come and be on your panel. I can come and do workshops. I can do conferences. And that's what I do, which is why it's always important that when you're given a platform like this, you let everybody know, you let everyone know that you can go to www.JeVaughnshow.com and reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to come and speak to you at your event. And I'm also at JeVaughn Show on Twitter, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook. So please reach out and bring me to your city to talk. See what I did there? That's what you have to do if you want to be into the podcast platform.
great, great, great. So that was a good, interesting insight from JeVaughn for our viewers. And I think people who are looking forward to do the podcasting, they can learn more from JeVaughn Martin. And I think whenever viewers would like, we can invite JeVaughn again on our show. But apart from all the things, JeVaughn, what kind of technologies podcasters are using? And do you also follow any podcasters, or is there anyone who says that he's the top podcasters, or he's the basically legend in podcasting, things like that?
Okay, so let me make sure that I answer all your questions. So the first thing was, do I follow any podcast? Absolutely. And I have an Apple phone. So there's a podcast app on here. And my favorite podcast is by this comedian named Neil Brennan. He used to work with Dave Chappelle on The Chappelle Show. He's extremely funny. There are some radio stations that I used to listen to when I was in Chicago, and they have podcasts. So whenever they broadcast it on the air, they'll pull it back and put the excerpts on the app. So the Nick DiGilio show out of Chicago is great. The Daily from the New York Times, I think it's the #1 podcast in the country right now. And then Joe Rogan Experience is the other, like they're always battling between #1 and #2. So between the Joe Rogan and the Daily, I listen to those every single time they have a podcast out. And of course, IBM TV. If you're not following any other podcast, make sure you're following IBM TV.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Then you said technology. What technology do I use?
yeah.
I use
Apart from you, what other podcasters are using technology? Because there are a lot of technologies available for podcasting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you told about that for beginners, Anchor is good enough to use it, and maybe people can switch on to Apple Podcast or Spotify or Facebook Live or YouTube. What other things they can bring into their podcast to make it more lively, to make it more graphically based, to make it more engagement, things like that?
Yeah, so you have to be creative. And because again, everybody's doing podcasts. So that's why I started doing the Facebook Live and recording my podcast so that I can interact with the audience before releasing it to the other people that aren't part of my Facebook Live. Other things you can do is having guests come on. Ooh, it's great to have good quality discussion in your
Yeah,
podcast. You can do sounders, so little special effects, sound effects in your podcast. That makes people want to continue to listen. And don't make your podcast too long. My podcast will go at most 30 minutes, but if you can get it to about 15 minutes, really good, solid information, helping people to stay engaged, then they'll continue to listen longer because they know it's not just going to be drawn out. Don't ever draw it out just to try to hit an hour or to hit 2 hours because that's what all the other podcasts do. I'll tell you, the Joe Rogan show can go up to 2 hours sometimes. I love the podcast. I'm not listening for 2 hours. I just have stuff I got to do. But if you want to do a really solid podcast and you want to bring in people and then you want to capture their attention, use sound effects, use music, bed like underneath while you're talking.
yeah,
And then for the visual podcast, bring in different pictures and graphics just so that people aren't looking or hearing the same thing the entire time the podcast is going.
so that's something which everyone should carry, because something so people don't know there's a dead zone basically, and on podcasting we should not be our dead zone. And also, if we are trying to talk to people, we are trying to talk to the entire audience and not to a particular or maybe addressing a particular audience basically. So
And
we have
can I share,
manually.
can I share one more thing with you too?
Yeah, yeah,
There's something that I started doing with my podcast, and I'm going to start incorporating this really more next week. But there's this thing I'm about to show you guys, and it is just so much fun. You're going to be like, well, why would you do that? And I'm going to tell you why. So I'm pulling it up right now. So you guys just stay tuned just for just one more second, just one more second. And then, so if my good friend can bring me right back in, do you see the second one that I brought, that screen? Yes, it's okay to do two cameras. Use your
yeah,
iPhone and then use your computer, maybe
yeah,
place them in different spots in
yeah,
different places. And that way you're giving your audience a different look. And
yeah.
all you do is mute one and have the other one on. And then that way you can just do different angles when you're hosting your show. So just
True.
something else to think about.
And that's a good thing basically. We also try to do a lot of them, but we are more of an web channel, and we are working towards that prospects, and we are following the art of creating an online web channel. And
Yeah.
so we are trying to create a lot of different channels with different topics, maybe sports, health, financial advisory, insurance, and music, arts, culture, history, health, cooking, yoga, fitness. So we have a lot of things lined up. But during this pandemic, we are doing this special live show for 4 hours around the world. People are joining us from around the world and sharing a lot of best practices, and they are experts in their own industries. So that's how we are connecting to the odds, and then bringing everyone on board and trying to figure it out what kind of channels we can launch it post pandemic. That is the idea what we are doing right now.
And you're doing a great job of it. I went and watched back some of your previous episodes, and I mean, this is great. I love the fact that it's so many different things for different people, and that way you get to capture all of the different audiences, and
Yeah,
people are engaged. People are looking for entertainment, looking for
yeah,
things to help inspire them and encourage them to stay mentally and physically strong during this pandemic, which is why, like, as soon as we get done with our interview, I'm putting on my shoes and I'm going for a walk outside for 30 minutes just to kind of keep my body and my mind strong. And then when I
Yeah.
come back, I'm going to be working on my shows to keep my creativity strong. I'm going to listen to other podcasts to keep those creative juices flowing, to get inspired by other creatives. Can I just mention one more thing?
Yeah,
Don't
please.
be afraid to pull stuff from other people. This is an industry where we all borrow from each other, and it's okay. Now, when you straight take something, make sure you give credit for it from where you got it from. But get inspired by others. Listen and watch others. And when you see them doing something that you're like, hey, I can use that for my show. Do it. Absolutely do it. But make it your own, and make sure you give credit when you do it. But otherwise, absolutely keep doing what you're doing with IBM TV, because this is a great concept. I wish I would have thought of it.
Yeah.
And I think that you're doing a great thing for so many people around the world.
True, true. And I wanted to ask you on the same lines that before starting a podcast, because you are doing almost 5 days a week, what
Mhm.
kind of books or what kind of news or what kind of sources you follow or you read or you watch before doing a podcast? Because you need a lot of material. While talking, you need a lot of material, and you don't want a dead zone. In our IBM TV, we have a lot of guests, so we have uh, a discussion going around and different discussions. So we have enough topic to chase us, and also we have a lot of people asking different questions. So it's not that one person is taking care of the show, but
Mhm.
in podcast industry, that one person will carry the show for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, maybe an hour or so. So what kind of sources you read and watch before doing the show? What is the practice basically before the show?
Sure. Well, I love TV. I'm an entertainment person. So a lot of my stuff, especially the Independent Artist Showcase, would involve me listening to a lot of music and taking in just different independent artists and hearing what they're doing, listening to other podcasts. As far as news, I'm more of so I was a political science major, and that's what I have my degree in. And from when I graduated college, is political science. So I love politics. I love what's going on in the world and in the news. But I also learned that news, you have to really pay attention to where your sources are coming from. And
Yeah,
it's so important to hear all different aspects of
yeah,
an issue. So here in the States, there's MSNBC, there's CNN, and there's Fox News. I
yeah,
watch all three. They are all coming from different perspectives. They all have different ideas. They all have different opinions. So I listen to all three just so I can know exactly what all of the perspectives are on the different topics. On top of that, I watch and listen to, or I listen to The Daily, which is that podcast that comes out every day from the New York Times.
yeah.
And it's great information about one specific topic. It gives it from a very unbiased opinion. It's just, here's what it is, you run with it and form your own opinion. And I like that about The Daily. And then I also listen to radio stations out of Chicago. I'm a huge sports fan. I love the Chicago Cubs, the Bears, the Bulls, the Blackhawks. So I listen to all of the sports stations, specifically 670 The Score in Chicago. And I listen to that on my phone, because with the new technology that we have, you can be in Dallas and still keep up with your sports in Chicago by way of the radio.com app. So, yep, I am listening to pretty much entertainment, or I'm hearing noise pretty much all day, every day. And that's how I stay connected with the world.
But Jay, I mean, you would agree to me that when we watch certain shows regularly, we tend to inspire from those shows, and we think that we are also on the same lines. But apart from those shows, you know that I mean, so most of the shows have a lobbying system. They have sponsors, so they talk on based on that and things like that.
Mhm.
But so we believe that I mean, we means I'm on IBM. We think that. If we watch one single episode every day, I mean, with the person host or things like that, we tend to inspire with them, and we think that he's the right person,
Mhm.
and we don't know what's happening on the other side of the world.
That's very true, which is why it's like I like the fact that you're doing the IBM TV, because it helps you to get ideas of what's going on around the world.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'll
true.
be honest, like I've got Oh, I've got Netflix, I've got Hulu, I've got YouTube TV. I have what are the other ones? Watch
Roku,
TV.
Roku. Yeah,
Right.
Roku.
Like, and I personally have all of those. So
Yeah,
I cut my cord, but yet I have all of these devices and all of these ways that I can stay in tune with entertainment. But I never watch my BBC channel, which is
okay.
right there. I never watch the station that I have that comes out of Dubai. I don't ever watch any of the stuff coming out of Russia, and I have all of these channels available to me. So I'm glad that you brought that up because that's a good point to make. We have to get out of our little circles, right? We have to maybe branch out every once in a while and just see and hear what's going on outside of
Yeah,
Texas, outside of the United States, outside of just English speaking countries, because there's things that's happening there. And as I think about it, there's things there that I can be using and borrowing from for the stuff that I do for my show. And it's good to know what is happening there, what information that they need. And then that way I can be a source to help provide that to them. So that's a very good point. We definitely need to watch
I'll
more
tell you
stuff like
what
this.
how I prepare myself before the show. So what I do is I generally try to watch capsule news around the world.
Hmm.
So there's a nightly news from Lester Holt on NBC that
Yep.
I try to watch, and
Mhm.
then I watch DW Journal from Germany. Then I watch, maybe ABC or something for UK. Same with Australia and India. I also follow a lot of news, and then I got to know that what's going around. And then I have connect from around the world. What's going on? What are they doing? What are the prices? And I play with numbers basically because numbers are something which is very important, and based on numbers you can judgment or you can do a lot of analysis. That's what I do to start the show, and that's how we started because source should be very important. We can't just comment on anything like that. We
Right.
should know what is the source, and that's why I told you I am not sure about the source, but I just heard at a lot of places that during the pandemic 20% more podcasters are online because everyone is at home, so they wanted to try something new.
Yeah.
so
And I
so
think
that's
that's
more
great.
competition. Yeah, and there is less entertainment because movies are not releasing right now. There are no music coming up. Musicians are trying. I mean, on our IBM TV, we have a musician from South Africa. She do a show every Sunday, 3 p.m. EST. Alexandra's Music Cafe, and then we have a couple of musicians joining us on a panel discussion. So Tuesday is our musical day basically. So we celebrate music, movie, and arts on Tuesday, and vice versa. We do sports and other things on other days basically.
Hmm.
And also, we invited a lot of Hollywood producers. If you know the movie Matchbreaker, Wesley
Yeah.
Allen was there on our show. Love, Faith, and Hope guy was also there on our show. Henning Morales is also on our show. So a lot of people are joining us on different industries, and they are sharing their experiences. So that's what I'm saying. Once you have good amount of source and data around the world, it's easy for us to share the data with the audience and viewers. And we have viewers from across the globe. So I can't just talk about America or maybe India or things like that. I have to address to the world basically. So that's what we're trying to do. So
That's
that's
awesome.
why I mean I was asking you because I think your majority of audience are in America or maybe in some part of the particular states. So what are your plans to expand yourself in next 5 years?
Well, right now we actually have a really good following in the UK,
Okay.
and and I'm starting a show on Saturday. So there's something that's been trending for a while. It's called the Don't Rush Challenge. And the Don't Rush Challenge is where like the girls or the guys are dressed a certain way, and then they put something in front of the camera, and then when they pull it back, they're dressed a different way. So
Yeah.
they go from like, maybe dressed one way, like regular house clothes, and then they put
Yeah.
the camera on, and then they come back, and then they're dressed in, they're beautiful. So one of the girls that started that challenge was from the UK,
Okay.
and but she's Nigerian. And
Okay.
so I talked to her after I interviewed her on my show, and I said, "Hey, you've got a great personality. We should do something together."
Yeah.
So I'm hosting. She's going to start her very first um, podcast on
Okay.
Saturday. And so we're going to be bringing in this huge, big international Nigerian star named Adekunle Gold,
Okay.
and he's got like 5.3 million followers
Wow.
around the world. So he's going to come on the show with her. I'm going to co-host, and what that does, it allows me to, number one, make an even bigger impact in Africa and even
Yeah.
bigger impact in the UK. And I'm paying it forward because I'm giving this young lady who has never had a show before experience and knowledge about doing podcasts and about doing a show. And we're getting this huge exposure because we have this international artist who has 5.3 million viewers or followers telling his people, hey, come and watch me do this show with JeVaughn. Hey, come and watch me do this show with Lash. So that show called Live with Lash, and you can find it on Facebook at Live with Lash. Please subscribe. But we're gonna record that show on Saturday. And again, we're gonna record it live, do interaction with the people, and then we're gonna pull it down. We're gonna edit it, re-put it back out there with the edited version without all of the mistakes that we will definitely have during the show. And it's gonna go everywhere. And so that way, I'm kind of helping to expand my international audience while also helping a young person kind of realize their dreams and help them get the knowledge that they need so that they can be successful.
So on IBM TV, we would love to host that show if you are okay with that. So we can
I would love to host a show with you guys and we can just talk about whatever is going on in the world. I
yeah.
listen, I think we met in one of the Facebook podcast
Yeah.
groups, and the one thing that I will always tell you is that I have an ability to open up my mouth and to say things. It doesn't matter what the topic is. I am a highly opinionated individual, and I believe that if you give me 1 hour to research something, I can have an opinion. It won't be a well-rounded, fully formed, maybe perfectly comprehensible opinion, but it will
Yeah.
be an opinion nonetheless. So I like talking. So absolutely, if you want to come on and do my show, you are always welcome to be a guest on the JeVaughn Show, and we can
Sure.
share what's going on with IBM TV, and we
Yeah.
can helpfully help each other, because that's what we should be doing through this thing, is helping each other grow our audiences and expand all around the world.
So to do a podcaster Thursday, the idea behind is to have people come and join us on IBM TV, and maybe people who are interested, we can do some kind of thing so that we can start the new podcasting with them on different topics. And
Yeah.
right now, so we are also looking for people who are eager to do something on IBM TV on an online channel, and also what are the new ways to do it, because Facebook is something which you have options, but there are no categories as such, so you can't categorize yourself as what is your category on Facebook. Then you have to search among those billion people that okay, I would like to watch JeVaughn show. So likewise, IBM TV can give us a platform and can give the platform to all the podcasters to host their show, and especially to those who are internet savvy and do the interesting things like pushing off your camera and then changing the dress and things like that. And it's certainly doing great. I mean, I think it's the real trend now after the ice bucket challenge. That is something which is picking up really fast. And also, I see one of the other trend is that people are wearing that pillow dress. You know what that pillow dress?
No, I haven't seen that.
So a lot of girls, what they're doing is they are, I mean, they come live with their own dress, and then after they put it, they off your camera, and then they are wearing a pillow with a belt, and that's picking up because it's most about for girls basically, and it's going great. I mean, you can get a lot of videos and a lot of pictures about that as well. So we
I
would we would love to we
will.
would love to host you on Saturday with the Nigerian performer, as well as we can plan a show with you as well. Whenever you have available, whenever you have time, you can reach out to me, and then we'll plan things accordingly.
That would be
And
great.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Let's do that.
yeah. So let's do a deal. Great. It was nice hosting you. And before we leave, I would also like to know what's happening around during COVID in your city. How are things going on?
Well, tomorrow is the day that they officially open back up Texas.
Okay.
So they did like a soft opening with the barber shops and things like that. But on Friday, they get to open back up the stores to 25% capacity. And then they have the movie theaters that can open up um, and things like that. I'm going to let you know now, I'm not going. I am going to continue to do what I've been doing, which is to stay quarantined, to only go out to the stores for the necessary essentials.
Yeah.
I do not at all want to risk either catching something, or if I have it and it just doesn't affect me like everyone else, I don't want to give it to something or to someone by accident. So when I go out, I wear my mask and I wear my gloves. And then when I come home from being out, I get in the shower and I get everything off of me. I don't need anything right now. So I know how to cut my own nails.
Yeah.
And I don't have to, and I'm not going to any clubs or any bars or things like that. So I'm good right now. I'm going to keep working, but the rest of Texas is open, and they're going to do, like I said, the soft opening has already happened. They're going to open up more stuff tomorrow. That's like the really big release day. And then I think May the 18th is when everything can be back open and operating regularly. And I don't trust it. I want to make sure that I'm tested and that I can be tested if I'm sick. And I want to make sure that if I do get sick, that I'm not going to die, because death would be really bad for me right now. I've got too much stuff going on to
Yeah.
die. So yeah, I'm gonna keep trying to live.
I'm surprised. I
And
mean, John, I'm surprised because I'm not sitting in India. We know what's happening in America, US. US is not learning what's happening around the world. Everyone is locked down. All the countries are locked down, and I don't know why they are very much up towards open the economy and doing stuff like that, which is very strange for us sitting in India and watching that. So the day we started the show, the number of people who were COVID-19 positive were around maybe 500 something, and now you are more than 1 million.
yes,
And
more than 1 million and more than 60,000 that have died. Now, here's my thing. This is just me being silly. I don't want to die or catch something just so that the economy can get back moving, which is the main focus as to why they want to reopen different parts of the state so that the economy can get back going. I don't care about the economy right now. I care
yeah,
about my health. I care about my kids' health. So that's why I'm saying, like, I would rather, like, and again, everybody's situation is different. I can't make money more important than my life.
yeah, true.
So I choose to just go about things a little bit differently. But I understand that not everyone wants to make that decision. And I am about pro-choice. I am about you deciding what you want to do, but it can't be to where it affects other people too. So I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to stay home. I'm going to continue to have my kids stay home,
Yeah,
and I go to the grocery store to get things when I need it. But that's going to be about it. I can get all the movies that I want to watch. I told you, I've got Hulu, I've got Netflix,
yeah,
I've
yeah,
got Pandora for music, I've got my laptop, I've got IBM TV. I don't
yeah,
need anything else.
yeah.
So I'm just going to stay with where I am. But that's what the state is doing. The state of Texas is opening back up tomorrow.
Great. So I wish you stay safe, stay home, stay calm, and stay in touch. And looking forward to do a lot of podcasts with you in future.
I can't
And
wait.
thanks for joining us. And before joining, I think I have one more viewer asking. Yeah, so the viewer would like to know that how they start approaching sponsors and advertisers once they do the podcast.
For the sponsors, please go to your family and friends who have businesses first and say, hey, throw me 10, 25, 30, $50 and let me talk about your business on my podcast. That's the first place to start. And then tell your loyal followers, hey, here's my Cash App. By the way, my Cash App is the dollar sign I Dream Podcast. So if anybody wants to help me continue what I'm doing, everything that I make in I Dream Podcast gets reinvested into the youth of the creative community. And I give that money to youth who are in need of instruments, who need paper and pens, and who need supplies and things to help them with their craft. So anything that's given to I Dream Podcast, I will let you know that it 100% goes to the youth and helping them stay creative. So back to what you were asking. Make sure that you go to your family and your friends first to get them to support. And then
Yeah.
once you start building up and you're able to get to a good place, then you present it, your podcast to the local community stores that have things going on. And you just kind of work your way up to the tier level. But you don't just start off going, hey, State Farm, give me money, because they're going to say, who's your audience? What's your reach? When do you do it? How do you do it? Send me these numbers, send me these numbers, send me these numbers. And you don't have that yet.
Yeah.
So if you're just starting out, build your audience. And if you have an established podcast, if you've been doing it for years and you have a good following, then just put together a letter, send it out to the people and let them go. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. And I will let Going Live, I guess, take it from here.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. And we have a new guest on our